Okay, so once again, good morning. So our topic for today is about abstraction functions, rep invariance, and equality. No, so we are eyeing that we could able to introduce several ideas about abstraction functions, representation invariance, equality, and the object contract. So we study a more formal mathematical idea of what it means for a class to implement an ADT via the notion of abstraction functions and rep invariance. These mathematical notions are eminently practical in software design. So the abstraction function will give us a way to cleanly define the equality operation on an abstract data type, and the rep invariant will make it easier to catch bugs caused by a corrupted data structure. So when it comes to equality, we are eyeing to understand the several, as I mentioned earlier, the physical world, because every object is distinct, no? So at some level, even two snowflakes are different. And even if the distinction is just the position they occupy in space, no? This is strictly true all subatomic particles, actually, but true enough to large objects like snowflakes and baseball and people. So two physical objects are never truly equally to each other, and they are only have degrees of similarity. When it comes to the object contract, so the specification of the object class is so important that it is often referred to as the object contract. No, the contract can be found in the method specification for the object class, and it will focus the contract for equals. And when you override the equal method, you must adhere to each general contract. No, so it is state the equal must be an equivalence relation. Equal must be consistent, and for a non-null reference, of course, that x equals, no, should return false. Hash code must produce the same result for two objects that are deemed equal by the equals method. So for us to discuss the detailed about abstraction function, representation variance, and equality, let us all welcome Sir Avinson. Go ahead, sir.
So good morning po. My name is Aven Santaladtad. So what is abstraction? Abstraction is the process of taking away or removing characteristic for something in order to reduce it to a set of essential characteristics. So the set of abstraction is to reduce complexity by removing unnecessary information. So ginagamit natin yung abstraction para mai-hide natin yung data na hindi naman dapat pakita ng ibang user. So in object-oriented programming, abstraction is one of the three central principles along with encapsulation and inheritance. Through the process of abstraction, a programmer hides all but the relevant data about the object in order to reduce complexity and increase efficiency. So yun nga, kung halimbawa gagawa tayo ng abstract na class, so yung implementation nun is nasa kabilang class. So hindi natin ipapakita yung implementation nun sa parent class natin. Ang implementation lang is laging nasa subclass. In the same way, the abstraction sometimes works in art. The object that remains in a representation of the original with unwanted detail omitted. The resulting object itself can be referred to as an abstraction, meaning an entity made up of selected attributes and behavior specific to a particular usage of the originating entity. Abstraction is related to both encapsulation and data hiding. So ito yung abstraction. Halimbawa, meron tayong
Excuse me, sir. Your presentation is still on the first slide.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hello pa.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. So dito, halimbawa, meron tayong mga kilala sa pangalan. Halimbawa, si Victor. Yung palayaw niya Victor. Hindi So, what is abstraction? So, abstraction is the process of taking away or removing characteristic for something in order to reduce it to a set of essential characteristics. The goal of abstracting data is to reduce complexity by removing unnecessary information. So, yun nga, ginagamit natin yung abstraction para maitago natin yung mga data na hindi dapat pakita ni user. So in object-oriented programming, abstraction is one of three central principles along with encapsulation and inheritance. Through the process of abstraction, a programmer hides all but the relevant data about an object in order to reduce complexity and increase efficiency. In the same way that abstraction sometimes works in art, the object that remains in a representation of the original with unwanted detail omitted. The resulting object itself can be referred to as an abstraction, meaning a named entity made up of selected attributes and behavior specific to a particular usage of the originating entity. Abstraction is related to both encapsulation and data hiding. So yun, pag ginamit natin yung abstraction, hindi natin kumbaga, hindi natin malalaman kung ano yung nasa loob ng function na yon. Magagamit lang natin siya. Magagamit, nakabanis ako. So ito, halimbawa itong abstraction na to. Halimbawa, meron tayong mga kilalang tao na ang pangalan na is Victor, John, and Roger. Pero hindi talaga natin alam kung ano yung pinaka-detail sa kanila. Halimbawa, yung mga artista. Kilala lang natin sila sa screen name nila pero hindi natin alam kung ano talaga yung skills nila, yung job nila, kung magkano ba talaga yung salary nila. So, ganun nag-work yung abstraction. Kumbaga, hindi natin malalaman yung detail, yung pinaka-detail ng loob ng function na yun. Ang malalaman lang natin sa kanya is yung pangalan ng method na ginamit sa kanya. So, data abstraction. Data abstraction or information hiding refers to providing only essential information to the outside world and hiding their background detail. So data abstraction, dalawa yung pwede natin gamitin para sa data abstraction. Pwede natin siyang gamitin sa classes or sa header files. So abstraction classes. An abstract class is a class that declared abstract. It may or may not include abstract methods. So ito yung example ng abstract class. Maglalagay tayo ng abstract na keyword, then yung class, then yung pangalan ng class natin. Then sa loob nun yung method. Pwede tayong maglagay ng abstract method, pwede din namang hindi. Abstract classes cannot be instantiated. So, pagka gumawa tayo ng abstract class, hindi natin agad siya matatawag ng ganito. Halimbawa, gumawa tayo ng variable na sample. Hindi natin siya agad matatawag na ganun. But they can be subclass. When an abstract class is subclass, the subclass usually provides implementations for all of the abstract methods in its parent class. So halimbawa ito, gumawa tayo ng abstract class which is yung parent class. Then meron tayong class 2 na regular class lang. Magagamit lang natin si abstract class kung i-extend natin siya dito sa subclass na to. Then, kapag na-extend na natin siya, saka lang natin magagamit yung mga methods and variables na nasa loob nitong parent class natin. So, ito nga yan. So, meron tayong abstract class A, which is yung parent class. Meron tayong abstract method 1, abstract method 2. Pero nakikita nyo, wala siyang body. So yung body ng abstract method 1 natin is nandito sa nasa derived class B, which is yung child class. So, halimbawa nag-declare ka dito ng method abstract method 1, yung body nun is nandito sa child class natin. Hello pa. Ano pa yun? So yun nga, yung class B extends class A. So yung child class natin, in-extend natin doon yung parent class natin na class A. So yun lang yung way para magamit natin tong class A na parent class papunta dito sa class B. So ganun nag-work yung abstract class. Then abstraction function. An abstraction function maps a state of the concrete machine to a state of abstract machine. It explains how to interpret each state of the concrete machine as a state of the abstract machine. It solves the problem of the concrete and abstract machine having different sets of states. So halimbawa dito sa abstract class 1 natin, nag-declare tayo ng public function na write. So kapag gumawa tayo ng subclass which is yung class 2 and extend natin si class 1, magagamit lang natin tong class 2 kung gagamitin natin yung function na dineclare natin dito na abstract public function write dito sa class 2. Kumbaga, hindi siya magra-run kung hindi natin gagamitin yung function na dineclare, yung abstract function na dineclare natin kay parent class dito kay subclass. So, sir, but yung example ko po kasi yung PHP po. So dito, halimbawa gagawa tayo ng payment sa halimbawa sa e-commerce na payment. So gagawa tayo ng regular class na by product. And then gagawa tayo ng abstract class na payment. So dito sa by product, meron tayong public function na get order. Then dito magde-declare tayo ng abstract public function na get order. So then i-extend natin yung parent class natin na payment dito kay by product. So extends payment. Yan. Itong abstract public function na to na get order. Kumbaga, magagamit lang natin itong abstract class na payment na in-extend natin dito kung gagamitin natin itong get order na function na to. Which is ito na nga, ginamit na natin yung public function na get order. Kasi pagka dineclare natin siya dito, then hindi naman natin pala siya gagamitin. Mag-error yung program. Pero halimbawa ganyan. Pero hindi naman natin i-declare to. Pero ginamit natin tong get order function. Okay lang, gagana pa rin siya. Pero pag nag-declare ka ng abstract public function kay parent class, then hindi mo pala siya gagamitin kay subclass. Magkakaproblema yung program natin. So dito magde-declare tayo ng payment methods. Equals Visa or GCash or Paymaya. Then meron tayong kunyaring product. Ano ba naman na product? Laptop. Then meron tayong price. The price is 21,000. Then dito kay abstract, dito sa parent class natin, gagawa tayo ng public function place order. Then magre-return tayo dito. Payment method is this. So dito sa byproduct natin, class byproduct natin, pwede na natin gamitin tong public function na place order. So gagamitin natin yan. So para magamit natin siya, i-return natin siya dito kay subclass. So return this place order. So ibig sabihin nitong this, kasi nga na-extend natin itong payment dito sa subclass. So pwede na natin gamitin tong this na variable. So ang mangyayari kasi niyan, ang nangyari niyan dito, naging ganyan siya. Kaya pwede na natin gamitin tong this na place order kasi nandito na siya sa loob ng byproduct natin na class. So check natin siya. So hindi pa siya nagpapakita, hindi pa siya nag-echo dito. Kasi nga hindi pa natin ini-instantiate yung class na byproduct. So instantiate natin siya by using variable byproduct equals new byproduct function. Then i-echo natin yung echo byproduct. Get order. So dito, yung byproduct na class is nilagay natin sa variable na byproduct. Then, tinawag natin yung method niya na get order dito sa loob. So dapat ang lalabas dito sa output natin is itong ano na to, payment is used. So yun, lumabas na siya. Then halimbawa gusto nating ipalabas to, ay ilalagay natin tong mga variable natin dito sa loob ng place order. So gagamit lang tayo ng parameter. So payment method. So naka-array siya. Sabihin natin Gcash. This one. Then product. Predict payment price. Then dito i-return natin siya. But payment method is payment. Yes. Product. Ito yung price. So dito, nilagay natin yung mga variable natin as a parameter para maipasa dito sa function na to na nasa parent class natin. So itong get order, yung body niya nandito kay subclass. So hindi natin directly ginawa yung body nitong get order na to sa parent class natin para yun nga maitago natin yung yung mga detail na makikita ng user. So dapat ang magiging output natin is ito. Kasama na yung mga parameters natin. So ayan. Payment method is GCash, product, tap. So pag nagpalit tayo dito, halimbawa gusto natin gamitin is Paymaya. Ito siya. Ayan, magpapalit siya. Dahil halimbawa gusto natin palitan yung laptop, TV, television. O papalit siya agad. Yun lang po, sir. Thank you po.
Okay, so as I mentioned, no, the space of representation values or the ref values for short consists of the values of the actual implementation entities. In simple cases, an abstract type will be implemented as a single object, but more commonly a small network of objects is needed. So this value is actually often something rather complicated. So it will suffice to view it simply as a mathematical value. The space of abstract value consists of the value that the type is designed to support. These are a figment of our imagination. So they're Platonic entities that don't exist described, as what our presenter mentioned earlier. But they have the way we want to view the elements of the abstract type as client of the type. No? So for example, an abstract type for unbounded integers might have the mathematical integers as its abstract value space. So in fact, that it might be implemented as an array of primitive integers. So it is not relevant to the use of the type. So now, of course, the implementer of the abstract type must be interested in the representation values, since it is the implementer's job to achieve the illusion of the abstract value space using the rep value space. So actually, if we're going to have an example of a string to represent a set, assuming that we have a public class, no, chart set implements, then set character, no, then begin, then private string is s, then so on and so forth, then end, of course. Then the rep space R contains strings, no? And the abstract space A is mathematical set of characters, and we can show that the values space graphically when an arc from a rep value to the abstract value is represented. There are several things, no, to note about the abstract, no? Every abstract value is mapped to by some ref value. The purpose of implementing the abstract type is to support operation on abstract values. Presumably, then we will need to be able to create and manipulate all possible abstract values, and they must therefore be representable. Some abstract values are mapped to by more than one ref value. So actually, this happens because the representation isn't a tight encoding. There's more than one way to represent an ordered set of characters as a string. And not all ref values are mapped. So based on the given example, for example, we have R in A, then we have a begin and end, then the A, B, C, and so on and so forth. Then we have decided that the string should not contain duplicates. So this will allow us to terminate the remove method when we hit the first instance of a particular character, since we know there can be at most one. So in particular, we can only illustrate a few elements of the two spaces in the relationship. No, the graph as a whole is infinite. Now, the discussion of this lesson is focused on the abstraction functions maps a concrete representation to the abstract value it represents. The rep invariant specifies legal values of representation and should be checked at runtime with check rep, no? The check rep reserve word, no? Equality should be an equivalence relation like reflexive, symmetric, transitive, no? Equality and hash code, no, must be consistent with each other. So that data structures that use hash tables like hash set and hash map work properly. The abstraction function is the basis of equally and immutable data types, no? Reference quality is the basis for equality in the mutable data types, and this is the only way to ensure consistency over time and avoid breaking ref invariance of hash table. Actually, when it comes to safe from bugs, no, stating the ref invariance explicitly and checking it at runtime with check ref catches misunderstanding in bugs earlier, rather than continuing on with a corrupt data structure. Careful implementation of equality in hash codes avoids heinous bugs in collection data types like list, sets, and map. And it is easy to understand that rep invariance and abstraction functions explicate, no, the meaning of data types, representation, and how it relates to its abstraction. And of course, it's ready to change, no, and ready for change. Abstract data types operate or separate the abstraction from the concrete representation, which make it possible to change the representation without having to change client code. And this will be today's three properties of a good software. No? Safe from bugs, easy to understand, and ready for change. Okay, I think that's it for the abstraction function and representation invariance.